Hello, before we start, just a quick reminder, okay? This video is part of my top 100 networking terms series, which consists of 10 parts with 10 terms in each. It would be good if you start from part 1, because I try to introduce new terms in logical order, and it's also designed to be networking crash course. So, by the end of it, you'll have all the necessary foundations, but of course you can also use the timestamps to jump directly to a term that interests you. I also recommend pausing the video whenever you need, especially if it feels too fast or you want to take notes, and yeah, alright, let's dive straight into it. Number 21. NIC. NIC stands for Network Interface Card. It's a piece of hardware that allows your computer to connect to a network. NIC converts digital data into signals which are either electrical for wired connections or radio waves for wireless connections. Then they can travel across the network cable or Wi-Fi. It is like a bridge between your computer and the rest of the network, enabling communication with other devices. Number 22. Ethernet. Ethernet is the most popular networking standard used for connecting devices in a wired local area network. It defines the physical and the data link layers. So basically it is a set of rules for these two layers defining which types of cables and connectors can be used and how data is formatted at layer 2. So we're talking here about the first two layers of the OSI model. If you're not exactly sure what these layers mean and what OSI model is, don't worry, I explained the OSI and TCP/IP models step by step in another video. The link is in the description and you can see it on the screen right now. Number 23. IEEE. IEEE stands for the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. And just one side note before I explain it, okay? It might seem complicated at first to memorize all of this information right now, but this is all really basics. And in my opinion, really worth to know these terms, especially if you're into networking. So pause the video if necessary and make notes. Okay, back to the topic. IEEE is an international organization that develops technical standards which define how different devices communicate with each other. Many important networking standards start with 802 like Ethernet and Wi-Fi, and they are all created by the IEEE. Number 24. 802.3. Ethernet was standardized as IEEE 802.3. So basically this is the IEEE standard that defines Ethernet used in wired local area networks. Wired, so the ones with cables. So whenever you hear 802.3, think of wired Ethernet. Number 25. 802.11. While 802.3 defines wired Ethernet, 802.11 defines wireless local area networking, also known as Wi-Fi. So instead of cables, it defines communication over the air, such as for example radio frequencies. Basically it covers Wi-Fi. Number 26. Twisted pair. This is the most common type of copper cable used in Ethernet networks. Inside the cable there are 8 wires twisted together into 4 pairs. The fact that they are twisted is the most important here because it allows reducing electromagnetic interference from external sources. And it also reduces interference from the pairs inside the cable, which is called crosstalk. And just very quickly, there are two types of twisted pair cables. UTP, which stands for unshielded twisted pair, which has no additional shielding, and this one is the most common one. And we have also STP, shielded twisted pair, and this is less common for very noisy environments. Number 27. RJ45. RJ45 is the commonly used name for the physical connector used with Ethernet cables like the twisted pair cable we just discussed. The RJ45 connector has 8 pins, which match the 8 wires inside the twisted pair cable. You will find RJ45 ports on basically all routers, switches, firewalls and similar network devices. Number 28. Fiber optic cable. The cables we discussed so far were copper cables that use electricity. On the other hand, there are fiber optic cables which use light to transmit data. This is of course much faster, and thanks to fiber optic cables we can achieve extremely high speeds and long distances with very low signal loss. Number 29. SFP. An SFP is a small modular transceiver that plugs into a specialized port on a switch or a router to connect to a network cable. And now in a more human language, so an SFP converts signals, okay? So basically, inside the network device, at the physical interface, data exists in a form of electrical signals. And in fiber optic cables, it exists in a form of light. So an SFP is like a translator between the device and the cable. It takes electrical signals from the switch or router and converts them into light for fiber cables. And in the other direction as well. It converts light back into electrical signals. SFPs are most commonly used with fiber optics, but there are also SFPs for copper Ethernet. We have also different types of SFPs, but that would be too much for this video. Number 30. PoE. PoE stands for Power over Ethernet, and it's a technology that lets network cables carry electrical power. This is super useful for devices like IP cameras or Wi-Fi access points because they can be powered by the same cable that connects them to the network, eliminating the need for a separate power outlet. Alright, so that's it for this part, and remember, you're building a really solid foundation here, so keep up the good work, hit the subscribe button, and let me know in the comments if you'd like me to create a separate, longer video on any of these topics. Also, if you need a roadmap, in my opinion, you can just continue learning these 100 terms in my videos, and then, or even in the meantime, start studying for the CCNA. Check the description below, you might find some useful links to help you with the CCNA.